Allow your palms to be face up on the knees. Gyan Mudra, index finger and thumb join. Pay attention to the length of your spine. Ground the tailbone down to the floor. Shoulders draw back and down. Gently tuck the chin to the chest so you're extending up through the crown of the head. Like you're reaching the spine toward the sky. Nice and long and loose. It's interesting, I was doing some reading, as is pretty par for the course for me, as many of you who know me know. And, I had this perspective, I had this thought about, I guess the cultural gestalt of being an American. And I talk about this a lot, like how culture and the practices and civilization sort of creates our reality. The value system, the things that we value, the things that we hold in high regard, the things that we think are important, tend to dictate how we educate, how we operate, how we relate. And, the current cultural gestalt of getting the ends met is kind of the highest value, right? Getting our needs met, getting the ends met. And the means of doing so be kind of at any cost, right? As long as the ends are getting met, the means through which doing so, as long as it perpetuates the ends. Not necessarily considering the vibration or the intention behind the means of getting the ends met, right? It's just getting the ends met. And that, I think, is reflective of a consciousness that is really relegated to just the energy being in the first, second, and third chakra, right? When the energy is blocked and isn't allowed to move up into the higher centers of spiritual consciousness. You become preoccupied with materialism, survivalism, procreation, and power dynamics, right? And so the ends being pretty much more important than the means in many ways. Now, evolving consciousness speaks to the fact that it sets equal value and exclusive necessity for success to focus on the value of the means or the methods through which the ends are met. Saying it really doesn't matter about getting the ends met if you're doing it at a matter that sacrifices the quality of the means. Because the ends are going to be toxic or poison as a result of toxic or poisonous means through which to achieve them, right? That makes sense. But so much of our culture is wrapped up in that antiquated belief and practice. The vibration behind the action, the consciousness behind the action, sets its course, sets its potential for success, right? And what we define as success is also different, right? Success may be having all this material wealth but being spiritually deficient and unhappy. But at least you're successful on paper, right? Evolving consciousness says success is a more holistic experience. And so the means through which we execute the ends is extremely important, if not the most important part of it. And a practical example of this that I think is in alignment with the current value systems and the state of the collective consciousness is an example being, a corporation's commitment to make profit for its stockholders, right? That's a very practical thing. That's what, our whole economy is really built upon, right? So it has purpose, it has benefit. Current society equals getting the ends met at whatever cost of the means. Saying it's just business, right? Well, that's just business. So for whatever reason, that slogan exemplifies the notion that in business, it's okay to sacrifice the means in order to get the ends met predictably. And that is an antiquated method of operation. And it only limits our success. It limits our success. It limits our connection to higher conscious and higher experience of living together in peace, in harmony, in life. that it's just business mindset is rooted in a belief system that says that you can succeed through sacrificing integrity and truth. But we know that that's an illusion. As yogis, as people who are coming to realize this through practices of evolution, technologies and modalities that awaken us. For something to truly have the highest potential for success, truth and integrity are required in the means of achieving those ends. It's necessary. It's a prerequisite. And when we start to act in alignment with that knowledge, and to use corporations as an example, established corporations whose means of establishing profit for the stockholders is actually also a means through which benefits the collective, right? Doesn't create harm, doesn't create abuse, right? And we know that that will actually contribute to a more harmonious, insane world. But the collective consciousness, the ruling majority of those who are setting the experience in many ways, is short-sighted in their ability to see that you can achieve success through goodness, through integrity, through adhering to truth. People tend to think that in order to really succeed, you have to be unscrupulous. You have to sacrifice truth and integrity to get what you want. And that's an old belief system. That's a belief system that is reflective of a dying consciousness. We are moving into an awakened period in humanity where many start to rise above that very limited perspective, that very limited and contracted mindset. And this is how we start to change ourselves. This is how we start to change the world. We can want other people to do these things, but until we actually start aligning with having our own ends met by integral and truthful means, it won't be seen in the world around us. And when we start to do that individually in our own microcosm of life, not only do we see the fruits that are born of that, but we also serve to set a beautiful example just through our vibration, just through the experience of our living, that sets people to see, wow, you can live more truthfully, more honestly, and still be successful. But what's interesting is your definition of success really starts to change when you start to look at life through that lens. It's certainly more holistic. It involves spirituality. It involves peace. It involves relaxation. It involves downtime. It involves releasing, allowing, letting go, and not hoarding and holding in and trying to prevent change and prevent loss. Loss is part of it. I think, and I have a little note here that I'm trying to read my own writing. It says, the success of our future results not in defense and offense, but it's an opening to healing and surrender. It's opening into trusting that we can operate from the highest of integrity and have what we would like to see for our lives to unfold. Trust that we can do that without lying, without deceiving, without tricking, without manipulating, without cutting corners. And see what that feels like. Maybe try it out in small areas of your life. See how that reflects. And then you'll start to recognize that it makes complete sense for you to start to try and do that in all areas of your life. And we're all doing this. You know, we're all growing. We're all on the same journey. There's nobody who's doing it better than somebody else. You know, sometimes people look at other people, oh, out of envy, oh, I wish I had that. You know, they have their own version of their karmic experience too. We all came in here with a burden to bear and lessons to learn. And I believe that to be true, and that makes us all very equal and humble in each other's presence. Yes, Debbie.